Do you struggle with that feeling that your partner is like your whole entire life? It's like your happiness kind of lies in their hand. If this sounds like you, then this video is for you. But first, if you're new to my channel, my name is Marcella. I'm an attachment practitioner trained by Thais Gibson in the Personal Development School. I have a bachelor's degree in business, and I'm the owner of the Fearless Love Academy, where I help women change their mindset to change their love story after trauma. Fearful avoidance, right? I'm a former fearful avoidant, and I understand fearful avoidance very well. We tend to put our romantic relationships on a huge pedestal, right? If you know, you know. Fearful avoidance, as soon as they get into a relationship, it's like nothing else matters, nothing else exists. And we kind of do this thing where we like forget about our hobbies, forget about anything that we're interested in, kind of like push our friends away. Because why? Because we don't want to be doing anything that is taking time and energy away from our relationship, because our relationship is our entire world. And so fearful avoidants tend to really pour into their relationships. They tend to really want to show up and meet the needs of their partner. They want to give a lot of presence, a lot of emotional connection, and just really be there for their partner as a whole, right? And the interesting fact here is that at a subconscious level, fearful avoidants are actually pouring in and giving to their partner what they would like to be receiving, right? They're really loyal, they're really present, they're really giving. And these are things that they would actually really want in their romantic relationship as well. So they're showing up in these ways, and they have this like subconscious expectation that people are as we are. So if I am doing all these things and I'm pouring in and, I'm doing this, and that means that I love them, they should also be pouring in and doing all these things and being present. And that would mean that they love me. When they don't, this must mean that they don't love me or they're not interested anymore. And this is a very negative cycle or negative thought pattern that can come up for the fearful avoidant, that can cause them to kind of pull away from their relationship or shut down. Fearful avoidance, when they get scared or, they start feeling emotionally unsafe, they kind of shut down and want to pull away. Fearful avoidance, they kind of have this mindset that their partner needs to be showing up and meeting their needs, right? There's this codependency factor. If you don't know what codependency is this over-reliance on your partner. And what happens is usually fearful avoidance, they're meeting all their needs, all the needs of their partners, but it's with this expectation that I'm giving to receive. And so I feel as a fearful avoidant that I need to pour in all of the time. I need to be doing in order for my partner to show up for me at all. Fearful avoidants, because they grew up in enmeshed households where there was no like lines, right, from where someone else ends and they begin. There was no boundaries. So usually what happens, like in the roots of this, right, in the fearful avoidance childhood, is usually they grew up in enmeshed families. So it's like they had caregivers around where maybe these caregivers had like issues of their own that they were struggling with, and the fearful avoidants really felt like they needed to take some space away, but they didn't really know how to communicate this. So they took on their caregiver's feelings as their own. So they felt like this need to kind of show up and caretake for their caregiver. It's like, oh my gosh, they're feeling bad. I don't know how to take space away because I'm only a child. I don't know how to get out of this. So let me try to show up and be there for them and caretake for them and try to meet their needs. And as a result of this, usually the caregiver, when the fearful avoidant child was trying to show up and meet needs, this could be times where the caregiver would actually then kind of show up or give some positive attention to the child. So the child made the association, because usually they grew up in chronic chaos, right? Fearful avoidants grow up in chronic chaos. Their caregivers weren't always present. There wasn't a lot of consistency, right? So when fearful avoidants tend to show up in childhood and caretake, and their caregivers gave them a little bit of positive reinforcement. Fearful avoidants started making the association that, oh my gosh, they're showing up for me. I can finally get my needs met. I can finally get a little bit of love. And this is where the codependent and enmeshment mindset usually comes from. Now, not always. There's different circumstances that kind of can play into this, but this is a big one for the fearful avoidant. So it's like they made this association that when I'm showing up, when I'm taking care of them, when I'm doing something, a really good example is like if you had an alcoholic mother, right? And maybe they had a hangover one day and you were kind of showing up for them and trying to bring them, a cup of ice water, or maybe you made them some soup, or you're just checking in with them, right? And maybe they gave you a little bit of like positive reinforcement, giving you a smile or a hug and saying, thank you, honey. These things that you aren't used to getting, but because you're showing up for them. And so fearful avoidants believe in their subconscious mind, it's like this deep belief that I am loved when I'm giving and showing up for people. So this is where this enmeshed and codependent belief system comes from in the fearful avoidant. And so they want to constantly show up for their partner and meet their needs, and they're waiting for that positive reinforcement from their partner. This is why there's a codependent part in it. It's like they're depending on their partner to kind of like show them some attention, some positive reinforcement. And when they do, it kind of like lights up the fearful avoidant. They're like, oh, they met my need, oh, they're there for me. And so they feel that they always need to give in order to earn their worth and in order to earn love. They have this belief that I am loved for what I do, not for who I am. I'm worthy for what I do for other people, not for who I am. And that is just not true, right? It's really important that the fearful avoidant get in tune with themselves and start like working through these negative beliefs so that they don't have resentment building up and just feeling constantly burnt out and overwhelmed in their relationship, because over time, that's not going to be sustainable, right? So what are some things that we can do about this? Well, number one, it's going to be getting in touch with the beliefs that you have around, love, what it means to be loved. So usually, like I mentioned, the fearful avoidant has a belief that I am loved for the things that I do for other people, not for who I am. And how you're going to work through this is I want you to take a minute and write down these beliefs. Like, I am loved for what I do versus who I am. Is this true? I want you to question this story. Is this really true that I'm only loved for what I do? And the short answer is no. Is it possible that I can be loved for who I am as a person? Yes. The answer is yes. And I want you to list out some good qualities in yourself that you think are worthy of being loved just for who you are. You see, love is something that is naturally given to you, right? And it's not for what you do for people. Like, that's a bonus, but like there are people who, do absolutely nothing in their relationships and they could still have a great relationship because they love each other for who they are. It's not about what you do for one another. And then number two, what you need to do around this topic is being able to get in touch with your needs and be able to start meeting some of those needs on your own, right? Being able to disconnect from this idea that my life revolves all around my partner, that they are the only one who can make me feel good, that they are the only one that can meet my needs, right? And be able to say like, okay, if my partner's busy on the weekend, am I just gonna sit home and just wait around for them to like make me happy or do something, right? No, you shouldn't do that. You should be able to say like, okay, maybe I'll call a friend or a family member and plan lunch, if my partner can't talk today and I'm feeling kind of down and disconnected, how can I work on behalf of my needs? And maybe you can call a friend, maybe you can go out and have a conversation with somebody, new in public and get that emotional connection or whatever that looks like for you, right? The point being is that You don't only have to get your needs met in a relationship. And this is like a big alarm bell moment for me, because I remember thinking, oh my goodness, I can start pouring into my own needs. And crazily enough, these things will make you feel fulfilled. You'll start realizing like, oh, I don't only feel happy when it comes to my partner. The thing is that I never had that mindset or that knowledge that I could actually meet my own needs and create strategies around that. If you're interested in doing a deeper dive with me, you can visit my website and see what coaching opportunities I have available. I also have a Fearful Avoidant blueprint on my website where you can learn a lot about the Fearful Avoidant attachment style. I also have a Fearful Avoidant women's support group on Facebook, so I encourage you to join that. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. God bless.